So, what's this whole what's the deal, right? With the fact that rich people seem to have like all of the things. Like they have bigger houses, they have like I don't know, nicer cars, they have more cars, they have more houses, and they also seem to be living a lot longer. What's the deal with that? Why does it take a billion years for a Coke to die of old age, or a trillion years for a Rupert Murdoch? You know, what's the deal with that? Right? Because that's what it seems like. Well, turns out that I don't know. There's this weird correlation, I guess. Or we'll go with correlation. Now, correlation doesn't seem to be causation, as we all know from the old adage. Let's take a look at this study, apropos of nothing. The reversal of fortunes, trends in county mortality, and cross-county mortality disparities in the United States. That's a pretty boring title, right? Couldn't possibly have some really relevant information in it. Let's see. Counties are the smallest unit for which mortality data are routinely available, allowing consistent and comparable long-term analysis of trends in health disparities. Average life expectancy has steadily increased in the United States, but there is limited information on long-term mortality trends in U.S. counties. This study aimed to investigate trends in county mortality and cross-county mortality disparities, including the contributions of specific diseases to county-level mortality trends. Wow, that seems pretty benign. Well, let's read a little bit more about this. We used mortality statistics from the National Center for Health Statistics, good place to get your statistics from, I suppose, and population from the U.S. Census, another good place to get your information, to estimate sex-specific life expectancy for U.S. counties for every year between 1961 and 1999. That's a good chunk of years. Data for analyses in subsequent years were not provided to us by NCHS. Curious. We calculated different metrics of cross-county mortality disparity and also grouped counties on the basis of whether their mortality changed favorably or unfavorably relative to the national average. We estimated the probability of death from the specific diseases for counties with above or below average mortality performance. We simulated the effect of cross-county migration on each county's life expectancy during a time-based simulation model between 1961 and 1999. The standard deviation of life expectancy across U.S. counties was at its lowest in 1983, at 1.9 and 1.4 years for men and women respectively. Cross-county life expectancy increased to 2.3 and 1.7 in 1999. In 1961 and 1983, no counties had statistically significant increases in mortality. The major cause for mortality decline for both sexes was reduction in cardiovascular mortality, mainly because I'm gonna add some commentary here. Mainly because in the 1960s and onward, they developed a lot of really cool heart-related surgeries and interventions to basically keep people alive longer if there was something wrong with their heart. So life expectancy went up as a result. Pretty cool. From 1983 to 1999, life expectancy declined significantly in 11 counties for men by 1.3 years, and in 180 counties for women by 1.3 years. Another 48 men and 783 counties were non-significant life expectancy decline. Life expectancy decline in both sexes was caused by increased mortality from lung cancer, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, diabetes, and a range of other non-communicable diseases, which were no longer compensated for by decline in cardiovascular mortality. Higher HIV/AIDS and homicide deaths also contributed substantially to life expectancy decline for men, but not for women. Alternatively, specific specifications on the effects of migration showed that the rise in cross-county life expectancy was unlikely to be caused by migration. So, weird. There was a steady increase in mortality inequality across the U.S. Counties between 1983 and 1999, resulting from stagnation or increase in mortality among the worst-off segments of the population. Female mortality increased in a large number of counties, primarily because of the chronic diseases related to smoking, overweight, and obesity, and high blood pressure. So, essentially, what this found was, I'm gonna go over this without like going through the entire thing here. Essentially, what this found was, weird. There's a lot more crime. There's a lot more crime in poor areas. And that crime tends to lead to violence, and that violence tends to lower mortality, or lower mortality. Am I phrasing that right? Hello, Canadian Brunch. Show us the charts. Give them the charts. All right, we'll take a look at the charts. I'll give you the charts. I'll give you all the charts. Here we go. This is a table, not a chart. This is a chart. So, yeah, you can kind of see women tend to be kind of worse off than men. Let's see. Life expectancy kind of tending to go up. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, right? But, yeah. Let's see. There's a lot of stuff about AIDS in here as well. Unsurprisingly, for a study that took place during the 80s and 90s. Where was the specific? I forget. I cannot remember the specific thing I was going to bring up about this study. The main thing here is, poor communities, they have lower life expectancy. Wowie zowie. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? This study right here, who would have thought Black American Indian and Alaskan Native women are most affected? When it comes to racial and ethnic disparities continue in pregnancy-related deaths. In the United States, if you are non-white, you have a higher likelihood to die during childbirth, which is highly correlated to your amount of wealth. Basically, to sum up these things, by the way, this was from the CDC. This is just general findings from their study that took place from 2007 to 2016. So again, when deaths increase mortality, Canadian Brunch, you are delightful. Excuse me. Oh. Here. This is what I really wanted to get to. I bungled my opening. Ignore everything I said. From the Harvard Gazette. Life expectancy, money matters. This is a very blurry image and I'm upset about it. I want the actual, give me the charts. Give me the maps. Give the maps. Gib. This is a very blurry map. I'm upset. Alright, whatever. We need more pixels. Enhance! Alright. For low-income people, the darker colors on the bar and related map indicate the lowest life expectancy, fewer than 74.5 years. The lighter colors indicate a life expectancy of more than 77.8 years. So basically, Yeah, if you live in these darker or redder areas, you have a lower life expectancy. Weird. You might expect 2 or 3 years of life differential, but 10 to 15 years. It's an immense difference. Who would have thought? Indeed. Oh, here's the study. I wanted to click on that. The association between income and life expectancy in the United States. Yeah, here we go. The sample consisted of I don't even know what this number is. 1,408,287,218 person-year observations for individuals aged 40 to 76 years old. That is a lot of observations. That is a lot of observations. There were 4 million-ish. I'm okay. I'm not going to say these full numbers. Fuck all of you. The analysis yielded 4 results. First, higher income was associated with greater longevity throughout the income distribution. The gap in life expectancy between the richest 1% and the poorest 1% of individuals was 15 years. So if you're in the top 1%, you literally have around 15 more years of life than a poor for men, and around 10 years of a difference for women. Second, inequality in life expectancy increased over time. Between 2001 and 2014, life expectancy increased by 2.34 years for men and 2.91 years for women in the top 5% of the income distribution, but only by 0.32 years for men and 0.04 years for women in the bottom 5%. Literally, as time goes on, the rich are getting more and more time to be alive at the expense of poor people. This is incredible. Yeah, it's not surprising, but sickening. Very, very accurate, Jim. Third, life expectancy for low-income individuals varied substantially across local areas. In the bottom income quartile, life expectancy differed by approximately 4.5 years between areas, with the highest and lowest longevity. Changes in life expectancy between 2001 and 2014 ranged from gains of more than 4 years to losses of more than 2 years across areas. Fourth, geographic differences in life expectancy for individuals in the lowest income quartile were significantly correlated with health behaviors such as smoking, but were not significantly correlated with access to medical care, physical environmental factors, income inequality, or labor market conditions. Life expectancy for low-income individuals was positively correlated with the local area fraction of immigrants, fraction of college graduates, and government expenditures. That's interesting. Though, I always have to wonder whenever a study phrases this, access to medical care? Like, what do you mean by that study? Do you mean, like, people had the ability to go to the hospital? Like, physically enter the hospital? Or, like, had the means to go to the hospital? They take our capital and our lives? Yeah, they literal vampires. Exactly. The rich are literal vampires. So let's take a look at this. A Harvard analysis of 1.4 billion Internal Revenue Service records on income and life expectancy that showed staggering differences in life expectancy between the richest and poorest also found evidence that low-income residents in wealthy areas, such as New York City and San Francisco, have life expectancies significantly longer than those in poorer regions. While those differences can be chalked up in part to healthy behaviors, low-income residents in New York City smoke and drink less, exercise more, and have lower rates of obesity than in the poor in other cities. It's unclear what other factors might contribute to the difference. It's not an overwhelming correlation with medical care or insurance coverage, he said. It's not that the labor market is getting better. It's not correlated with unemployment or the expansion or contraction of the labor force or how socially connected people feel. The only thing it seems to be correlated with is how educated and affluent the area is. So low-income people live longer in New York or San Francisco, and they live shorter in the industrial Midwest. That is interesting. The paper really has two missions. One is to present this data, but the other is to create this data set so it can be used by policymakers and researchers everywhere. That is really interesting. Though, it does seem like it is relating money to life expectancy somehow. So I'm not sure how they can say it's not related to, like, the labor market or, like, insurance coverage or medical care. Money seems to be something that would affect literally all of the things that they mentioned. Like, money would affect your ability to get medical care or insurance coverage. Money affects the labor market. Money affects, well, generally has a relationship with unemployment. Money generally has a relationship with the expansion or contraction of the labor force. And yeah, money also has connection with education and affluence in a general area. Might be a matter of wealth versus income affecting health outcomes. Yeah, maybe that's it, Marcus Drake. Speaking of, I'm kind of pissed. This is totally a me prob, but I ordered a $10 sub, but the deli didn't have the tuna, so they gave me a $1.50 pack of cookies instead. What? I would also be mad, Ambrick. Time to take to the streets. The revolution has begun. I'm sorry, that genuinely does suck. The increase has been approximately 3 years at the high end versus 0 for the lowest incomes. This is important because it has major implications for Social Security policy. People say Americans are living longer, so we ought to delay the age of retirement, but it's a little bit unfair to say low-income people that they get that they're going to get Social Security and Medicare for fewer years because investment bankers are living longer. True. Eat the investment bankers. I'd revolt for less. True. Rise up, deli patrons. Thank you, everyone. Now follow me. The left is a murderous scam. Thank you for the follow. Though, if we are a murderous scam, you've taken quite a risk in hitting the follow button. Let's see. I bet this is from the same research. Oh no, it's different. I spend a bit of time each month looking at death tables. I don't really like it, but I have to say, it's my job as a pension scholar to understand which demographic traits are associated with higher mortality. Recently, I came across a report from the Social Security Administration's Actuary Office, comparing differences in death rates among people with different incomes. Bottom line, low-income workers still die sooner, a lot sooner, than high-income people. Well, the left... Well, you can unban. You can unban. But also, capitalism's killed more people. Get on my level. Capitalism's killed more people. Capitalism routinely kills more people. Like, I'm sorry. Did you forget about the transatlantic slave trade? Did you forget about, I don't know, the rush for Africa? Did you forget about the genocide of 3 continents worth of people and the Indian subcontinent? Did you forget about that? Capitalism kills less people per capita? No, it doesn't, actually. That only is true if you ignore literally the continent-wide genocides that capitalism has undertaken. And then you also have to include all of the deaths under successful capitalist countries and their current systems. Like, as Ashmar points out, 40,000 deaths per year because of a lack of insurance in America. You have to give credit where credit is due, my dude. Capitalism's killed far more than a billion people. I mean, like, you'd also have to look at, like, the French Revolution, the American Revolution, I don't know, the overthrowing of the monarchs of Europe. You'd also have to look at, I don't know, a lot of other things too. Yeah, if we take it as a whole, I mean, World War II alone, World War II and World War I and the Napoleonic Wars, all 3 of those were about capitalism. But, I mean, I guess, you know, yeah, I mean, think about all the deaths from hunger and exposure too. Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm a libertarian. If you want to be a woman, you can be, but promoting communism is immoral. Well, good thing I'm not promoting communism. I'm promoting common sense socialism. And guess what? Fellow libertarian, I am also a libertarian. Let us work together to increase the amount of freedom that we experience in this world. They're an ANCAP, though? Well, they didn't say that. I mean, they might be, but we don't know that. We don't want to make assumptions here, chat. Kurt Mulgrew, hello! So many dumb fucks showing up lately. Oh, Snips, of course. I get death threats literally every time I stream. It's not surprising anymore. Being a communist. Being a cummie. I don't know what you're trying to say. It sounds like being a cummie is fascist. I don't know what you're trying to say, but you're not saying it very well. Holy Hoomst, Holly Hoomst, hello! You're an adorable chatter, and I like you. We love being cummies. Don't like saying that on stream. Yeah, Paladin lost, I agree. Oh, by the way, just as an update for all of you, I did get reported for reaming that guy last stream. I got a report, the report notification from Twitch, but also they said they looked over my stream and it was totally a-okay. So I don't think the German authorities are going to come after me. Was it in German? It was not. Leftism is super cool. I like being a socialist. I like that my general positions are in favor of feeding starving people and housing the homeless and giving people health care to improve their lives. I like having those as my political positions as opposed to let the homeless be homeless, let the starving die, step over the bodies as you go to work, slave. I like that that's my political opposition, you know? Why do you think communism is based? I like the idea of not having a government telling me what to do, and I like the idea of everyone having their basic needs taken care of and not being coerced into doing labor they don't want to do. I like those. I like those things. Yeah, I think that's pretty based. I like the elimination of unjust hierarchies. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. The left is murderous scum. Welcome, my libertarian friend. Let us work together. 0 people dying of poverty would be ideal. I agree. Counterpoint to streamer. Communism is when the government does a lot of stuff. Communists. I'm having such a good time tonight. Alright. Cancelled again. Oh no! Oh, okay. Here's some interesting data. Researchers express differences in life expectancy using relative mortality ratios. Males in the lowest group, with earnings of about $12,000 per year, have a relative mortality rate of 1.3, meaning their odds of dying in the next year are 30% higher than the average male retired worker. Yo, I do not like those odds. On the other hand, someone in the maximum earning group with about average income over $250,000 has a ratio of 0.70, meaning their chance of death in the next year is 30% less than the average, and less than half that of the lowest income group. Not only do CEOs earn more than 361 times the average worker in their firm earns, they also live longer just because they have income. Yeah, like the top in America isn't even like $1 million. Also, people in Congress think $250,000 is middle class. It's true, every leftist streamer does get a lot of death threats. Yesterday, a couple people threatened to like stab me and rape my corpse. So, you know, it's just a thing that happens now. Oh yeah, somebody did threaten to dissolve me in acid. I forgot about that one. I'm glad I can laugh him off, but like, yo, getting my life threatened on a regular basis is pretty fucked. So much for the Christ-like, right? Well, most of the people doing the threatening don't claim to be Christians. You don't deserve to be Gaddafi'd. Thanks! Oh, who would threaten Lumi? Lumi is adorable. How are income and wealth linked to health and longevity? Who could guess? Oh, people making less than $35,000 a year report having 5 times worth, almost 5 times worse health than people who make over $100,000. Wow, that's fascinating. Crazy. What fantastical information. Who could have thought that lower income would directly correlate to your state of health? It's almost like we should live in a world. It's almost like we should live in a world where your healthcare isn't dependent on your income. It's almost like we should live in a world where people should, like, I don't know, like maybe not have a financial barrier between themselves and healthcare. I feel like that's the kind of world we should live in. Mara dear, you don't even have to become a millionaire. You just have to make $100,000 per year. Abolish money, that's the far future of the USA. No. In the far future of the USA, we will only use dog money and talk about the moon and Lambos. That I also would not mind having 100K a year. The far future of the USA is a barren rock. Not if I have anything to say about it. I want this rock that we live on to last as long as possible. Let's look, if the sun expands, we're gonna throw giant rockets on this thing and like wandering Earth ourselves into a new solar system, okay? We can do it. We can do hard things, chat. We can do hard, fantastical things. We just need to manifest the political will to do it, which is what this stream is all about. Here, let's look at life expectancy versus health expenditure. It does seem like spending more money on healthcare overall does not affect life expectancy. Especially given that we have less life expectancy than Luxembourg, or Switzerland, or Canada, really any country. We have the lowest life expectancy of developed nations. And we have since, I don't know, the 1980s. Weird how that works. Look for a trapnado. You're pretty attractive. What is a trapnado? I would have my way with you before I send you to Judgment Day in the Lord's name. I feel like rape is something that is generally frowned upon by the Lord. Yeah, we got some weirdos. There we go. See? I get rape threats. It's fun. Oh, I guess that was also a death threat. But look, that person was right about one thing. I am very attractive and hot. That is true. And they called you a slur. I don't know what a trapnado is. Is a trapnado the same thing as a sharknado, just filled with anime titties? Like I don't know. Oh, I know this will come as a shock to no one, but I had it in my back pocket to talk about. The opioid crisis. No easy fix to its social and economic deterrents. Can any of you guess what one of the economic determinants of the opioid crisis was and is? Can any of you guess? It's poverty! It's poverty. It turns out if you're poor and you don't have good access to health insurance, you start relying on opioids instead of actually getting your underlying problems fixed. And then, because you're spending all your money on opioids, you can't go to stop taking opioids. It's the perfect storm if you're trying to sell opioids. It's shocking, I know. None of you could have seen that coming. And conservative... You know, Woohoo Lulu, please remind me that I've been threatened in the span of a week... in the span of 2 days with being dissolved in acid and raped raped in the name of God before the apocalypse. Please remind me that both of those things have happened in the span of like 2 days. Opioid NATO? Oh no! Alright. We actually have a lot more content to cover. I thought we were going to be spending a lot of time doing this stuff. We aren't going to do a call-in section for this next hour. Instead, I'm going to give you a little presentation. We're going to keep doing content now. Power structures that crop up in capitalism are punitive to those who weren't born into wealth. I know, Holly Hoomst. Is it not unexpected? Oh, wait, guys. Okay. A trapped NATO is a massively attractive woman like me. That's actually very, very flattering. I mean, the word fake was used in there, but, you know, I'll take the compliment.